All right, so I got my boy Swish Hill on. Say hi, Swish Hill.
Hi, kids.
Do you like violence? Yeah. Um, we actually did another recording, and yeah, we had to do it over. I mess up all the time. But anyways, Trey Jones. So we wanted to talk about whether or not it's even beneficial for the San Antonio Spurs to keep Trey Jones for the long run. And you have a theory in mind that I really liked as far as what the Spurs could do with the slim chance of us getting Victor Wembanyama, and if Trey Jones even gels with him. So we're going to talk about that in one sec.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right. Okay. All right.
Is it over yet?
Yeah, it's over. What's up, Swish
Okay.
you? What's up, my boy?
Nothing much. Nothing much. I ruined a couple takes here and there.
No,
Um,
it was me.
What?
It was me. I ruined it, not you.
Yeah, you and your stupid intro.
But yeah, man. So go ahead and tell the people what you had in mind, because I actually really liked it a ton. So what's your theory?
Yeah, I mean, I'll preface it with I really like Trey Jones. Like, if he wants to stay and it's a good contract, I am not going to complain one bit. But I was like thinking about, he is unrestricted. He could get offered a lot of money from someplace and all that. And we're still trying to look at improving most positions. And as good as he is, yeah, he's not the best starting point guard in the NBA. I don't think that's a debate.
No.
We'd love to improve that position if we could. And on the chance we get someone like Vic Wembanyama and he looks at going elsewhere, one guy I was kind of looking at would be someone like Killian Hayes. And before y'all balk, yes, I know Killian Hayes has had a rough start to his career, but this season he's actually started to kind of come into his own. And I got to thinking, I was like, he's French, so is Vic. He's a pick and roll guy. I mean, we've seen what Pop can do with pick and roll guys like DeJounte Murray and all that. I mean, he's got some flaws and things to work on, but especially if Detroit ends up in that like top 5, top 6 area, aside if they land Brandon Miller or Vic, yeah, sure, they're probably going to keep him. But if you look at that top area, there's a lot of guards up there that people are high on. And I just got to thinking, like, they got Jaden Ivey, they've got Cade Cunningham when he comes back from his injury. They even just added RJ Hampton from waivers. Would they want to keep Killian Hayes after all that if they end up adding another guard like Scoot Henderson or Amen Thompson? And just given what the kid's ceiling can be, I thought it could be fun to trade for him and bring him over to San Antonio, and give him a shot next to guys like Devin, Keldon, and Jeremy and all of that.
Well, one thing that you said is the main thing was the Wembanyama thing. So if you, like, in your mind, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if we were to get Wembanyama, more than likely Detroit will be second or third, probably second, because they're going to be the worst in the NBA, more than likely. It would take way too much at this point. Like, we would have to lose the rest of our games, and they would have to lose, like, what, 3, 4? I think 4.
Yeah, they have to lose like 4 more, or excuse me, have to win like 4 more to get above us. And I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So they're going to be the worst in the NBA more than likely, and we'll be second or third, competing with the Rockets. But you said that if we were to get Wembanyama, that's like all bets are off. I mean, we got the best player in the draft. We got a crazy great talent, franchise player. And at that point, it's like, all right, let's start getting the pieces that might fit with him better. And that's still like, it's not necessarily going all out like the Dallas Mavericks did with Luka, but it will be a situation where we can go and get a Killian Hayes who's younger than Trey Jones, right?
Let's see. Yeah, he's about 2 years younger.
Yeah,
Trey Jones is 23. He's 21.
Yeah. And I don't think that this is controversial at all. Killian Hayes has higher upside than Trey Jones.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Trey Jones is a really good glue guy and whatnot, but in my opinion, I feel like we already kind of have that in Sohan. I don't see too much utility out of Trey Jones if we were to get a Vic. Honestly, even if we were to get a Scoot, do I see any utility in Trey Jones? I don't know.
That's where it gets tough, because you'd like to see Scoot start, If we end up with
Easy.
Scoot, I think a lot of it depends on how good Blake Wesley has looked over the summer.
Mhm.
Because Wesley's improving, but there's still a lot of things that he just hasn't figured out quite yet. Um, his finishing's not quite there. You know, he careens a lot of shots off the backboard when he drives in sometimes, and you know he still turns the ball over a bit, has some defensive lapses. So I mean, if he gets in the gym this summer and all of a sudden improves and gets right with himself, I think then you look at, hey, maybe Trey's expendable if you get someone like Scoot. Otherwise, I think he sticks around.
Yeah. And then you saw, I mean, you already kind of said this, but with Detroit Pistons, if they were to land that second, they got so many guards anyways. I mean, what's the use of having Killian Hayes, especially Jaden Ivey, who I know he's listed as shooting guard, but he can run point.
Oh yeah, he ran point in college.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a lot of, all their guards can handle pass and all that kind of stuff, kind of getting with the modern NBA. But yeah, it's just, especially if they add Scoot to that, I'm like, geez, man. First of all, like, what do you do there? Because you know, Scoot and Cade is a hell of a duo, but then you got Jaden Ivey, who's a top 5 pick too. Do you bring him off the bench? What do you do? Or do you play Cade technically as a small forward that can handle the ball? I mean, it's a luxury to have that for them too. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I think after a while they've stockpiled so many of these assets, they're gonna start to run out of room for all of them. And my basis for thinking that is, you know, at the start of the season before Cade got hurt, Hayes wasn't playing much. He was playing like 15 minutes a game, putting up like 3 points and 4 assists. And people thought Detroit was done with him. But then Cade gets hurt and he's out for the year. All of a sudden he gets some playing time and he's showing some development. So it's kind of interesting that they weren't all that high on him themselves at the start of the year. And if they add another guard who, I mean, Scoot's going to have a much higher ceiling than Hayes does, and probably is already somewhat more talented than he is, being, you know, 3 years younger too. So I just don't see how you go all in on that and keep Hayes. But I could be very wrong, because Lord knows what some NBA GMs are thinking. But yeah, it was just one of those things. I thought that could make a lot of sense for San Antonio if they want to. You know, we've had some, for lack of a better word, reclamation projects this year. I mean, we brought Stanley Johnson in and, you know, got him playing some of the best basketball he's played in a while. Same with Romeo Langford. I thought that may be another version of that, which, you know, he's much younger than Stanley Johnson is and all that, and he could get his shot with us to prove how he develops.
And I know this is slightly off topic, but like, one thing that I do notice, or I have noticed that's bothered me when it comes to Trey Jones, not just sitting here just to bash on Trey Jones, because I do think that he's a solid player, and I think he could be more of a Corey Joseph. And Pop even said this too, like coming off the bench or whatnot. He reminds him of Corey Joseph. But one thing that I don't like is the fact that he kind of has this whole like DeMar DeRozan thing going on, where at the beginning of the season, it felt as if he was more willing to take threes, or at the very least make a concerted effort to do so. And it just seems like as the season has gone on, it's become less and less prevalent. I mean, in month of March, as of right now, he's only averaging about a 1 3-point attempt per game, opposed to the beginning of the season where it was almost 3, at least in November.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with Hayes too that I like is, you know, Trey Jones has had 1 month where he shot above 30% from 3, and that was the first month of the season, October. He was attempting like 2 threes a game, hitting like 2.3, I think is the official number, and hitting 0.9 per game. So yeah, that's really good. We'll take that. But since then, you know, he was shooting 2.7 per game in December, only hitting 0.7. Then that dropped. He was shooting the same number in January, but hitting less.
Yep.
Shooting 20%. He's kind of slumped since then. Meanwhile, what's encouraging with Hayes, his overall 3-point percentage is only a little bit better than Trey Jones. For reference, Killian Hayes is shooting like 29% from three, and Trey Jones is shooting 26% from three. So, I mean, it's not an incredible difference, but when I look at Hayes, I mean, throughout the season, he started off abysmal. He was shooting 13% from three in October, but from November, December, January, he was attempting 3, 4, and 5 threes a game, shooting 36, 33, and 31% from three. He slumped a little since then, but 3 months of shooting over 30% is promising.
It comes down to that willingness as well to continue to try at it, pick at it. And I guess the thing that frustrates me the most, and this is what gives me not a lot of hope for Trey Jones, the Detroit Pistons and San Antonio Spurs are virtually in the same position, right? Like both of us are trying or just naturally happening, tanking. We're just not that good. Young teams, and going after Wemby. So like we're all doing that. But with that being said, this is a moment and this is a time for development. This is a time for you to make mistakes. You can make the most mistakes in your career right now. And Trey Jones still has resorted back to, I'm not going to shoot a lot. And I'm looking at Killian Hayes here. And while you pointed out his percentages as far as 3-point percentages isn't the best, it's not the greatest. He's had a couple months that were pretty decent. But he has not let up. I mean, month of March, 3, like you said, 4 here in the month of February as far as attempts, 5 in the month of January as far as attempts. Like this is the year to do it. It's kind of very similar to even Jeremy Sohan. Actually, I'll bring Jeremy Sohan up because Jeremy Sohan is kind of similar in that regard. Like he's not attempting a bunch, but we were kind of expecting him not to attempt almost any with the Spurs. But this is the year to experiment, and this is the year to develop.
And I will say, I won't completely paint that in a negative light for Trey. Trey is very much a traditional, like, floor general type point guard. And I think you'd see this a lot when he was at Duke. I think he views his job as like, okay, it's time to calm things down and get them under control.
I get it.
And we've seen that work at times this season. We've seen it not work at times this season, which not necessarily his fault when it doesn't work. The team's young. So a lot of times it won't work and it's through no fault of his. It's just other guys can't get on the same page. But I think sometimes that hinders his ability to affect the game at times. Like you've said it too, there's times, I can't even remember which game, but I remember Sohan made this crazy cross-court pass to him wide open in the corner, and he hesitated and didn't shoot the three. Exactly. And then just dribbled forward a couple and reset the offense. And I was like, come on, man, like, shoot that. You got this.
Yeah, you got to shoot it.
Whereas, I think Hayes probably wouldn't have hesitated. And would he have made it? Who knows? But it's you want to see people kind of not hesitating and believing that their skill set works. And I think Trey's mindset, one reason I love the idea of keeping him around if we can, is he very much has the mindset of like a backup point guard on a contender.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not many teams who would not want a Trey Jones running their second unit and, keeping things under control until the stars can get back out there. But it's rough when that's your mentality with the starters in the lineup, because that's supposed to be your best group. So that's the only reason I gravitate towards Hayes there.
I guess it just comes down to your perspective of it, because you can either see it as, okay, he's on a really bad team, thus he has to help the young guys and stay as like the facilitator or whatnot and not step out of that. Or like, and this more so how I see it, is you're on a team that is experimenting quite a bit. Each player is trying new things, and each player is trying to get out of their comfort zone. And I just feel like a lot of moments that I've seen, Trey Jones could have just shot the ball or just, attempted a little bit more. I mean, won a game, I'm sorry, that is not going to suffice no matter if you're a facilitator or not. And Trey Jones, I mean, players know around the league that he's not a 3-point shooter. Like, they know he's getting pretty open looks at times, but it's just a matter of, like you said, let's reset. It's fine, and I think it's like great if he's a backup and the money isn't too much. I'm cool with it to keep him, but it's just a matter of, if we get Scoot or if we get Wemby, and then like you said, going after Killian Hayes would be crazy. What's the point? I don't really see a point. Because I think Blake Wesley has higher upside. Anyways.
Yeah, he does. Wesley's one of those you wonder if he'll put it together, and you hope he does.
That's my question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I've said it before. If not, Killian Hayes is an option for like an existing guy, but I think a lot of people would be in favor of, hey, if you get Wemby or someone like that, or Scoot, or hell, even Brandon Miller, like trade up into the first round and see if you can nab another guy, another guard, because there's so many good guards in this class. That I think have higher upside and could benefit the team long term.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not to hate on Trey. It's just, we've got this eyes focused forward on the future, and you gotta try and find something that'll maximize your potential going forward. So
yeah. Well, I think that's a good point to end on, man. I really do appreciate you coming on as always. We're gonna do another video in like a second. But man,
y'all aren't allowed to watch that one. No,
you can't see that one. But I really do appreciate it. If you guys could, and I didn't have your stuff up. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible friend.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I'm a terrible fan/friend. All right. If you guys want to,
and I've been a terrible YouTuber. I'll tell the public. I have been laid off twice in like the last 8 months from 2 different companies.
Dumb.
And my PC is broken, so it's been a struggle to try to get the equipment necessary to make videos, but I promise you I'm trying to get it worked out because I miss making videos. It's a fun thing to do.
Well, nonetheless, I'll have your link in the description. If you guys want to support, this is his channel. He always talks about so many interesting topics, one of which is every player Kawhi, which this thumbnail has made rounds all the way around Twitter. So yeah, it's a meme at this point. So yeah, if you guys want to support, what'd you say, my boy?
I'm famous.
Yeah, he's famous.
Hi, Mom.
So if you guys want to support him, please do. Also, clanthemerchfan.com, link in the description. If you like any merch, please grab it. Or become a Patreon YouTube member, only $2 per month. I'll give it to you guys later, man. Till next time, bye.